The Camino de Santiago, known in English as the Way of St. James, is a network of pilgrims' trails or pilgrimages leading to the shrine of the Apostle St. James in the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela in northwestern Spain. Pilgrims have been making their way to Santiago from all over Europe since the 9th century. These days, well-established routes include the French Way, the Northern Way, and the Portuguese Way. Along the way, there are mountains, forests, and beautiful coastline. There are also quaint villages, rivers, cathedrals, and castles. There is open space, too, stark and largely empty high plains, vineyards, wheat fields, and sunflowers. Routes vary in length and difficulty, but they are well marked, and they have one thing in common. They all end in Santiago, or begin there. More on that later. The way is quite simply the route, and I've chosen to hike 2 of them, 1 week along the Camino del Norte, and then about 4 weeks along the Camino Francés. There's a pleasant buenos dias from horses and a gradual climb. It's about 820 kilometers from here to Santiago with lots of elevation changes. We can go this way, which takes us on more of a flat path, or we can go this way. And I think we're going to go up. The push to the top delivers some stunning views. It's good to be a horse in northern Spain, and this is a good place to pause and munch on the scenery. It was a 44-hour trip to get here from my home in the Pacific, a flight to Guam, connection to Tokyo, a layover in Qatar, a window seat looking out over Saudi Arabia, then Egypt, Italy, and Barcelona. The route is split into stages. It's best to think of each stage as a day. Weather is a factor, as are places to sleep. The trail is well marked, and locals are generous with advice.
Hola. Cross the other side, you take left, church, turn around, go up one wall, over the wall is continue the way.
In Pasai, a short ferry ride takes us across the river. It's just a minute or 2 and costs €1. It's a good place to be bi-coastal. I'm walking with Daniel, a Canadian living in the Czech Republic, and 2 sisters from Madrid. We met on the trail, basically got lost in the same place and put our heads together. And the first day brings lots of smiles. Accommodation on the Camino is basic, but clean and friendly. Bunk beds with built-in chargers, privacy drapes, and usually a kitchen to cook. At Monasterio de Zenarusa, the Catholic monks welcome pilgrims to the extent of their capacity. It's a beautiful spot nestled on the hills, and all of us feel appreciative of the hospitality. Before dinner, the monks hold a special pilgrim's mass in the cathedral, and you get the sense that dinner is tied to attendance. After Mass, they set up a long table for us and say,
Bon appetit, bon profit, i coses noves amb el que vulguis ja està, que sí? Vale.
Sun sets late here in the summer, and we enjoy the evening light before we settle down for the night. You need to take good care of your feet on the Camino. My Canadian pal is putting on a brave face, but he is really hurting.
Do you think that's infected? That is definitely infected.
30 clicks a day in variable weather can mean some serious blisters, and this can lead to some serious infection. We get medical supplies and patch Daniel up as best we can for the push into Bilbao. Bilbao is a big city with a nice historic part, many hotels and hostels and restaurants. Bilbao is intersected by a river, and a hanging bridge moves people and vehicles efficiently across. And it's the home of my friend Jaime. Jaime Lafita has been on the Camino de Santiago twice, and in many ways, he's never left it. The Spaniard grew up surfing, sailing, and cycling in Bilbao on the northern coast of Spain. He's an integral part of a warm and close-knit Basque family. As a teenager, Jaime loved to draw, and he especially loved to draw pictures to impress Lourdes, his future wife. Lourdes met Jaime when she was just 15. At the time, she was dating Inigo, a poet and storyteller, and Jaime's older brother.
He left for the Navy, and when he came back, I was with Jaime. You were too complicated for me. Jaime was more peaceful.
All is forgiven, and each Sunday, 3 generations of Lafitas happily gather for the afternoon, giving Inigo a captive audience for his latest poem.
One day, a big man arrives to the play with a very long black beard. Now, he said, "This land belongs to me."
These Sundays are precious, even more so because Jaime is in the fight of his life for more of them. It started in the summer of 2016. Jaime felt a little twitch in his arm. Probably nothing, he thought, but he did notice some effects on his drawing. Doctors ran some tests. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. Jaime's mind was fine, but the doctor said his body would soon begin letting him down.
The average life of someone with ALS is between 3 and 5 years.
Your father was a doctor. Your brother's a doctor. How did you share the news with them?
I hid it for 1 year and a half. I didn't want to worry anybody. I kept my mouth.
He keep it as a secret.
As the twitches became more frequent, Jaime's family sensed something was wrong.
Inigo, what is happening with Jaime? Every single day, I know something is happening with my son, with your brother.
The Camino can be a great source of strength for life's challenges. The time, the trail, the direction. It's hard, it's beautiful, it's lonely, it's comforting, and Jaime turned to it. In 2018, 2 years after his initial diagnosis, he gathered a group of friends and organized a ride along the Camino del Norte, with a finish in Santiago. Along the way, he shared the hard news.
And I said, "Lou Gehrig's disease?" He said, "Yeah, Lou Gehrig's disease." And I said, I remember asking, "So what's happening so far?" And you have to understand, this is a guy that's, great athlete, been kicking our butt for the last 8 or 9 days, doing, more than 100 kilometers a day, biking on really extreme stuff, and just the epitome of health. And it was hard to digest, I guess is the best way to say it.
Jaime is now in year 5 of the crippling disease. What's a day like? What is a day like for you?
It's 24 hours thinking about it because it limits all my movements. I have to concentrate a lot not to fall down.
And Jaime cries sometimes, but he says he doesn't feel sorry for himself.
I try to hang on and keep on.
Jaime can't cycle safely by himself anymore, but that hasn't stopped him from riding, and he does much more than hang on. Jaime has a voice for ALS, and earlier this year, despite the pandemic and the physical challenges, Jaime sailed up to France and then got on a bicycle and pedaled 900 kilometers over 500 miles to Brussels to deliver a message to the leaders of the European Union. What did you tell the leader of the European Union? What did you say to him?
I have no for coming here. My mind now is no time.
Jaime's Camino continues each day. The trail's a permanent part of him. The crunch of pea gravel, the forest of greens, the ocean blues.
It's one of the highlights of my life. I look back on all the things I've done and the 5 guys that I did it with, are brothers. It's hard. It's hard to see them and to see them going through it. But I also know he's got great people around him, and he's a strong, great guy who's making the most of every second.
Signs give us direction, feedback, encouragement. Just as important as being alone is being together, with a shared purpose, with the common goal of moving forward. It is our Camino.
Jaime, Chris, Inigo, and we think the same. We think exactly the same, with no illness or with illness.
The French Way, or the Camino Francés, is perhaps the most well-known route to Santiago. It starts in France, Saint-Jean, Pied-de-Port, a small charming town that was founded in the 12th century. It's lined with cobblestone streets. It sits in the foothills of the Pyrenees Mountains. From here to Santiago, it's about 500 miles, and the walk will take about a month. Dinner is served outside, and we will sleep here for the night. The Pyrenees straddles France and Spain. The walk today follows the steps of Charlemagne, the uniter of Europe in the Middle Ages, and more recently, Napoleon. And it starts with a 4,000-foot climb. It's midsummer, but up here it's windy and rainy and cold. And did I mention beautiful? Swirling mist adds to the magic, and a variety of animals share the road, some bigger than others. These days, we are all hoping for herd immunity. Because these sheep roam freely, the blue paint makes it easier for the farmers to keep track of whose is whose. It's also used on the belly of rams. When they mate with a ewe, the paint is transferred to her back, and this tells farmers which sheep may be pregnant. At the summit, there is some shelter, and we stop for a bit of warmth. We traverse from France into Spain at one of the nicest crossings I've ever experienced. The Border Patrol has typically long faces, and there are unique bells and whistles. Just off the trail in a small village, I stop for supplies and meet Olivier.
This Camino became to be my passion.
Olivier runs a store and restaurant, and he cooks for pilgrims in the evening. It's a small business and a deeply personal one, and he likes to talk with travelers along the way.
Most of the people I met here, they begin the Camino from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port until Santiago de Compostela. They are always surprised because when they begin, they don't think about going to the Camino. They're only thinking about the pain they have, because in the beginning it's very hard.
Olivier was born in Belgium, the son of a Tunisian father and Belgian mother. He grew up without his dad around and went through some hard times.
Life is a blessing, of course, but you have some moments people, bad people, very bad people.
Olivier turned to alcohol and had thoughts of suicide.
In Belgium, all my friends didn't know that I was drinking because I am a man, and the men, they don't talk about their weakness.
Trail time helped. Olivier met some strangers and connected with them. The combination of walking and talking was important therapy, and it got him ready for La Meseta, one of the perhaps loneliest weeks on the trail.
There is a place very interesting, you will see if you made the Camino. It's between Burgos and Leon. Some pilgrims, they don't want to do this because there is nothing, it's very plain, and no trees, nothing. It's like a desert.
The Meseta is 7 or 8 days to cross, and it is vast. You can sing, you can cry, you can dance, and you can have the whole place to yourself. It can be mind-numbing or mind-changing, and Olivier says for him it was the most important stretch of the month-long walk.
What do you need in life? good people around you, somewhere to sleep, some food, some water. It's okay, you know. We complicate our life. Then the Camino helps me also to simplify my life.
Just west of Olivier's small store is Pamplona. Each July, the walled city pauses for the annual running of the bulls, glowingly written about by Ernest Hemingway in The Sun Also Rises. The pandemic this year has put that celebration on hold, but the culinary scene is alive and well. Not sure what to order? You can always look up for inspiration. Across a small river and up some steep switchbacks, we find Alto de Perdón, the mountain of forgiveness, where the path of the wind crosses with that of the stars. The sculptures here feature 12 pilgrims, and they are designed in chronological order to visualize the history of the pilgrimage from the Middle Ages to present day. The landscape has changed. The forests have given way to wide open spaces. The trail is now mostly pea gravel, and we are surrounded by cereal grains and sunflowers. Young sunflowers follow the sun, just as we do. It's a flower that brings a lot of smiles. To avoid the heat of the day, an early start is best, and it means some spectacular sunrises. The early morning crunch makes me think of grape nuts, my go-to cereal as a kid, and hay bales dot the landscape. As we enter Nájera, the hay and friendly flowers temporarily give way to vineyards. Public water fountains are available all along the trail, and it's easy and free to fill up. Sometimes you have to nose your way in. At Bodegas de Irache, there is not just a water fountain, there is a free wine fountain. It's a popular rest stop. Some rest longer than others. One of the best things about the Camino are the people that you meet. Near Los Arcos, I meet Elizabeth and Karima, who live in the southern part of France. It's their first trip anywhere since the pandemic.
I found the feeling of freedom again. Freedom. 2 years, this year and last year, we were so afraid. We were so in jail.
Pourquoi je fais le chemin de Compostelle?
Karima says she is closing a chapter in her life right now. The world is changing, moving, and this walk is a compass of sorts, helping her reconnect with herself and to trace a new path. Elizabeth is a devout Catholic, and she does the Camino as often as she can.
I do that every year, about 1 week or 2 weeks, to do a break in my life, you know, to be well in my head.
What do you think about when you're walking?
I'm praying. I'm praying. When it was raining, we were singing in French, and people said, "Oh, you're French. We heard you because we are singing." Yes, we were singing. We are praying.
On the Camino, most people walk. Some cycle, some go by horse. The terrain is challenging. One of Elizabeth's most inspirational moments was spending time with a priest who was being pushed along the way in a wheelchair.
The most important moment together was the moment when he stood up of his chair. It was phenomenal because for us, he did that for us. We prayed together and we had a lunch together, and we were very, very, very happy to be together. Very happy. It was the best day of my life.
What kind of people have the time to walk for 30 days? Well, teachers for one. The long summers give enough of a window to do a long journey like this. I'm walking with one of them. Emma grew up in the southern part of France. As a young child, she surrounded herself with books, brothers, and a sister. The family moved north just outside of Paris when she was 7. This spring, she told her students and family that she would spend the summer walking 800 kilometers to Santiago.
Back home, when I said I'm thinking about doing the Camino, people were like, but alone, you're a woman, so you should do that with friends or someone. You can't do it alone.
The Camino de Santiago is safe. In fact, it's known as one of the safest places in the world to hike alone. There's good infrastructure, ample water stations, but it does have real physical challenges.
I'm used to hike, but it's only, for a few days, so it's a lot different here. It's every day, all day, and sometimes, a lot of time for me, it hurts,
La Meseta lays directly ahead, 200 kilometers of dry wheat fields and days of nothingness, which for many is a mental challenge as well.
I am in the moment in my life where I'm searching for a meaning, and I think I can find it in the faith. So I have a lot of questions, and I'm hoping doing the Camino will give me answers.
Burgos is a big place with the Cathedral of St. Mary Catholic Church located in the historical center. Construction on it began in 1221 in French Gothic style. Burgos is also a beginning of sorts, the beginning of the Meseta, 7 days of vastness. Yellow signs help us mark off the kilometers, but the way is easy to find here. There aren't many trees. The sun's at your back in the morning, and you follow it in the afternoon. 3 kilometers before Castro Heris are the ruins of the monastery of San Antone. Founded by King Alfonso VII, the Gothic ruins were once used to treat sick pilgrims on their way to Santiago, and today, at least this day, they are treating us with music to our ears. Up the road in Castro Heris, I meet Nia, who has set up a beautiful wellness center in the middle of the Meseta, her own way to treat present-day pilgrims.
I am connected with the Camino already the last 14 years.
Nia's an artist that loves projects. She took this space and has spent the last 3 years making it just the way she wanted. These types of places along the Camino are part of the sauce that make it so unique.
You will be on the Camino minimum for 4 weeks, so this gives time enough for calm down, for let the rhythm of society and find your own rhythm.
It's July 25th, St. James Day, the patron saint of Spain, and the mood at dinner is festive. The rhythm of the Meseta sets in quickly. Get up early, catch the sunrise, appreciate the sunflowers, and sing. In Legigos, I catch up with Albert, who's walking 40 kilometers a day and always has a smile on his face.
If you go alone, you're not alone, because all the other pilgrims are with you.
Albert is from Germany and owned a construction company, but it wasn't his passion. Opera was, and he asked a friend in the local opera company if they could use some help on the business side of things.
She said, no, we need singers. I don't know if I'm really good, but they took me. And so I could sing 2 operas, and I felt this is my place. This is the place I want to be.
This is Albert's 3rd Camino. He says the key for him is training, visualization, and packing light.
One of the most important things is not so much weight. So I think from what you pack in, take the half. Because we met women with 12, 13, 14 kilo and they get blisters. It's too much.
Do you sing when you're alone on the Camino?
Yes, I do it all the time. Yeah, because I want to improve or train my singing. Yesterday I sang for sunflowers. It was my audience. Sounds crazy. Buongiorno, buongiorno, buongiorno a te. Buongiorno, buongiorno, buongiorno a te. Come stai, amor? Come stai, amor? Benvenuti, benvenuti, benvenuti a cari amici.
Just outside of Leon, Gumersindo has a small house alongside the Camino, and he makes friends with people from all over the world.
Listo para darle vuelta. Listo para barrer el horno, para barrer.
He doesn't take any donations. He proudly shows me his home, his handmade hearts, his pizza oven, and he tells me he's a Packers fan. Cabeza de queso, cheesehead in Spanish. Astorga is a walled city, and the barrier protects an elaborate cathedral which began going up in the 15th century and took a couple of hundred years to build. The long build has resulted in Gothic, Renaissance, and Baroque elements. We are getting closer and closer to Santiago, and in this section of the Camino, there's a lot of horsepower. Just past Fons-Badon, an emotional place for many, Cruz de Ferro, or the Iron Cross. It's the highest point on the route, and it's surrounded by stones, precious cargo that has made the 600-kilometer journey in backpacks and will permanently rest here. Tradition is to say a prayer, leave a stone, and symbolically leave any burdens behind. It's cold and rainy, and the weather adds to the somber, peaceful, and emotional experience. The mountains feel good after the dry meseta, and so does the rain and fog. As the altitude decreases, the sun comes out, and we are soon in Molina Seca, one of the best stops on the Camino. The beautiful river is the main attraction, and for good reason. It's just simply called the pool. Restaurants and accommodations are built right on the shores, and though the water is mountain runoff cold, it's just perfect. In the morning we reach Ponferrada, the last major city on the way of St. James, and it's surrounded by mountains and straddles a river. Some people cycle the Camino, but it isn't always easy. From Villafranca del Bierzo there are two ways to go. The scenic route goes up in the mountains and is less traveled but well worth it. In Vega de Valcarce, a small albergue with a kitchen and a lively family that keeps an eye on things, their friendliness gives them a leg up on the competition. The next morning, one of my absolute favorite days. We're in the mountains, and the only vehicles are tractors with horsepower and some pilgrims with horsepower too. The climb is one of the last big pushes into Galicia, the home of Santiago de Compostela.
It's always difficult to enter Galicia. It's always a route climb if you go by the Norte or even the English way if you go from the coast. So it's like Galicia telling you you need to do a last effort to reach Santiago. But I like it very much. You're in the green, you're in nature, and also the climb. It's like you have to prove yourself for entering Galicia.
The day ends at elevation at a small albergue that has dogs, chickens, a fireplace, empanadas, tortillas, and tables with a view. And sunrises. Are you kidding me? I'm walking now with Alessandro and Maxime. Alessandro is an Italian from Milan. He's a paramedic, easygoing, and self-sufficient. Why is he walking?
I took it as a challenge because I've never done a walking trip, let's say. So it's 800 kilometers also to challenge myself.
Maxime is just 19, a bit younger than most others on the trail. He's shy, thoughtful, sensitive, and optimistic. He's been walking for 2 months, intent on learning some life lessons.
Doing this Camino, my objective was to focus on the present. So that's why I decided to start this long Camino without time limits, without place where to sleep. Like I didn't know where I would sleep. I didn't know how much kilometers I would do each day, and that was the objective, to just focus on the present and how do I feel physically, how do I feel mentally, and to know how to manage myself.
The scallop shell is one of the iconic symbols on the Camino. You'll see it on signs along the way, and most pilgrims carry one on the outside of their backpack. Pilgrims in the Middle Ages may have used these shells to drink water from streams. In Samos, I meet Simon, a caretaker of sorts. Simon has helped build a garden that includes medicinal plants, and the garden is done in the shape of a scallop shell.
Something happened on this first experience that inspired me to come back and to see if it was possible to co-create a space for people to be able to share and rest and reflect.
Simon also made this rock reflection area, and like many places along the Camino, it comes with an open invitation. People stop here for varying lengths of time, from a few minutes to days and sometimes weeks. It's a comfortable and peaceful kind of place.
I wish there was nothing left to say. We're lost, of course, in a verbal maze. Send your voice off to sleep. Let the silence take the lead. We find a way if we said nothing for a day.
There was a man that I met a couple of years ago who was walking from his home in Belgium, and he spent some time here. And in this journey, he'd been walking, crisscrossing through France, on and off the Camino, like on a deeper search, I guess, like a deeper inner journey. And he arrived here and maybe spent 10 days living here with us. And one day he came to me and he said, "Hey Simon, where's the bus?" And I was like, "Oh, in Zaria, close to here. Why?" And he said, "Because I realized that Santiago is here, and I've arrived, and I don't need to walk anymore."
Armish Bello is a working art gallery started by Carlos's grandfather.
La técnica consiste en ir a buscar minerales a la montaña, picarlos y...
Carlos says they harvest local minerals and then use them to create one-of-a-kind pieces of art. There is a working art room, and the finished pieces are shown throughout the home, which also doubles as a place to stay. The art gallery is a little hard to find, but well worth the visit. In Zaria, the trail starts to get busy. We are now just 100 kilometers from Santiago, and a lot of Spanish groups join for the last few days of the trail. What will you do when you get to Santiago?
Oh, I think I will shop. Do you say that? I want to say Ultraya in very high shouting, and I want to go to the church for sure, the cathedral, and after that I want to eat pulpo.
Today is the day. Santiago is 40 kilometers away, and I start in the dark. The steps come quickly, almost too quickly. There are some nice forest sections along the way. 26 kilometers to go, and then 10, and then 5. Just outside Santiago, a wall to leave things you no longer need. I got rid of those weeks ago. Music plays as you enter the courtyard, and then there it is, the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela.
Hi man, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Fine.
What's up?
Hey Chris, how are you? We made it. Can you take the picture? Yeah, sure.
The courtyard is an emotional place, and many of us just lay here and soak it all in. It's heartwarming to watch others arrive, and there are a lot of raw feelings on display. There are 2 more things to do, and one of them involves going into the cathedral. One more thing, and it's 50 miles away, the Cape of Finisterre. In Roman times, this was believed to be the end of the world. It is the end of the trail. 37 days and 1,000 kilometers over mountains, through forests, along coastline, rivers, and the Meseta. We go for a symbolic swim and then take a rest right here on this perfect beach. After watching sunrise after sunrise across the vast interior of Spain, it's finally time for a proper sunset, and the Camino delivers. The pilgrimage has been the same for generations, but no walk is ever the same. The cobblestone of unique people ensures that. 5 years from now, you're the same person, except for the people you've met and the books you've read. UCLA basketball coach John Wooden said that. Yellow arrows give guidance, steps give us strength, and new friendships give us context and life lessons. Slow down and find your rhythm. Simplify your life. Surround yourself with good people. Ask hard questions and search diligently for answers. Don't carry too much stuff in your bag or in your heart. Sing to the sunflowers. Even if you're not religious, take care of your feet religiously. Music is great medicine. Share it. Style never goes out of style. Start early, help others, and let others help you. Take care of your family, and never, ever